Eve! Why are you so cute? Such a cutie. I love you so much. You're my best friend, you know that? Why you always follow me around, huh?
So, who cares? Why not do your own thing and let them say what they want?
What's up, guys? I am using Vlad today. I've missed Vlad because he's so light and small and wonderful. And Eve is claiming her little thing. I thought I would do one of these old videos because I have a lot on my mind today and I wanted to just go through rambling with you guys. And I saw recently you guys were saying like, oh my god, I miss when she just like lays on the floor and talks about stuff and there's no actual subject. I felt more like these days that it would be helpful to always have like a succinct subject. And even when I was going back to my old videos and I was looking through them, a lot of people were like, oh my god, can she get to the point? Can she stay on a point? Meh. And so like, even for what I like to consume as far as content, I like that succinctness better. But am I zoomed in? No, it's just like, I'm not showing titty enough, you know? I like succinctness in the stuff that I watch, but I also occasionally watch things on which I'm really interested, like today. Nice segue, I wasn't meaning to talk about this just yet, but I just watched a 4-part video, or a 4-part, like, 4 videos, video segment thing, video amount, what the fuck is wrong with me? I just watched 4 videos in a series. That's better. On this chick doing ayahuasca. I'll link it down in the description. I've always known of ayahuasca. I've always known of like ceremonial, shamanistic, like healing medicines and stuff. Wow, I'm flashback marrying over here, I guess. But okay, for me, like, you know I'm non-religious and you know I view spirituality in the same vein as religiosity. And let me explain. Like, I'm pretty open-minded to stuff, and I am also aware that our consciousness and our brain and how it operates is highly a mystery. You know, like, what exactly consciousness is still up for debate. How it manifests and how to control it and how to truly unlock it. All this stuff feels spiritual, but that's just because, same as religion of old, it was a way to explain the unexplainable right now with our current science. And the reason that I'm so against, at least personally for me, religion, and I've evolved a little bit on this, like I'm more understanding of the social implications, and implications has like a bad connotation. I mean, like, there are social goods, at least that the religious today perceive, that make religion, though it can't be proved and though it's not objective, important in their eyes, you know? So I understand that. I understand where they're coming from. Like, for instance, a sense of community and a sense of morality that is a little bit harder to come by and more obviously subjective if you don't have some form of organized religion. I personally still think that religion, it's not a good. I think there's more harm than good there, but I do understand that there is some good byproduct of something that's so irrational and so crazy. I used to think so poorly of anyone who was religious, just like it popped into my head like, oh, you're religious. Like, I would avoid those people, like, because I knew that there was like a logical disconnect there, or like, I thought that I couldn't be friends with someone that I couldn't like have conversations with. And I still feel like it would take a very special religious person, a very intelligent and honest religious person for me to actually be like really close friends with them or something. But I'm more interested now in talking to those kind of people and finding those kind of people. But spirituality. Some people say I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. And I feel like spirituality is, again, just another way to explain experiences that we can't explain, you know? So we say it was a spiritual experience. I personally think that, like, even if I did ayahuasca and even if I had this, like, revelation, it would just be my brain expanding through the drug, through the healing medicine, and I would experience it because I can't explain it as a spiritual experience, but I would still come out the other end thinking about it logically. The girl I watched, okay, so usually when you think about people who are like spiritually connected and like, oh my god, you have to do this, it's life-changing, you know? By the way, ayahuasca is a combination of 2 different plants that form a psychoactive drug that you can take, and then like it actually cures in a lot of people. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence, at least, and some scientific evidence that it can cure addictions. It makes people stop doing things that harm them. It's very good for depression and anxiety and stuff, because you're like introspecting like crazy because your mind is expanded during these psychedelic experiences, where you can like fully grasp why you care too much about what other people think, why you have anxieties for certain things. And to me, that's very appealing, because I would just view it as not some kind of spiritual experience. I would view it as me being able to do all of this introspection that I do, that has taken me like fucking 5 to 10 years to get to this point in my life where I understand things the way that I do. Like, it would be quicker because my consciousness would somehow be expanding. I don't know. But I found it really interesting, and I wasn't just sitting there watching videos. I feel like I need to always say that I was like doing autographed images for Patreon while I was doing this, but it was so interesting, and I started thinking about some of the things that possibly I could encounter in these experiences, and I feel like there's some maybe relating to how Jay and I interact. Like, I was thinking about like, sometimes I feel like I'm totally myself around Jay, and I'm with Jay like 24/7, and it's been that way for like 12 years. And sometimes I feel like I try to kind of put up a front of badassness to him. I don't know, like there are occasions where like I already know he knows these things about me, but like sometimes I feel like I've established the person that I am with him so much that sometimes when I talk about things in my videos, it would feel really awkward for him to watch the videos, at least with me. Or sometimes I feel awkward about him watching the videos, particularly like videos where I'm vulnerable at all, because it's weird, like it's really hard to explain. Like, Jay thinks some of my videos are kind of silly because that's not the person that I am on a daily basis. And I think that's part of my introspection. Like, I talk to Jay a lot and I talk things out with Jay a lot, but it's more of like a logic path with him. Like, I'll bring up like something that, like, for instance, an SGW thinks, and I'm like sometimes I just can't put myself in other people's shoes, and Jay's really good at that. So I'll be like, why would this person think or act this way? It doesn't make any sense. And I'll be like, this is that, and this is that, and this is the other, and I'm going through like my perspective on it, you know? And he'll be like, well, there's this and that. And he like helps me so much with a lot of my logic problems in my head, and he can play devil's advocate perfectly because he has no emotional connection to any of these people, or the opposite. Like, he's not sitting on YouTube and seeing all of these infuriating people or something, or seeing this really annoying fucking culture war or any of the politics. Like, he's just completely outside of it. But so I'm basically the one showing him these videos and being like, look at this thing that's going on in politics right now. Or he'll ask me, he'll be like, I heard something about something, and then I'll like fill him in. But I feel like when you get too involved in all of this stuff, like, as much as I try to remain unbiased and see things objectively, and I watch both sides as well, which is really important, sometimes watching both sides just pisses me off even more, you know? Because as much as you try to keep an open mind to the other side, sometimes it's really hard for me to find people who I feel aren't just complete shitlords on the other side. So like, having Jay there to talk through it with him and have him play devil's advocate where he's never gonna get like involved in it, you know, is like interesting. And mostly I get frustrated, not at like, I made the example of SJWs or something, but I never get too frustrated at things that are that shallow. My frustrations recently have been with like censorship. Because obviously I'm constantly getting deleted everywhere. I'm constantly having issues with that. People I like are getting deleted. I'm feeling more and more like the noose is tightening around freedom of speech and stuff. And so that's what really has been frustrating me. And I'll like be like, why do people feel that that's good? Like, why don't people, you know, like, and he helps me a lot with that. So a lot of what you see in my videos is something that I've worked out with him. And oh god, I wish that the one day I'm gonna do this, but every time I finish a really deep conversation with Jay, I always wish I was just recording it without his knowledge, because there's such good conversations, and I would just love to upload that for you guys. And I don't really care what you guys think of him. I know you guys think he's like, a lot of people, like I see a lot of comments saying like you're mean to him, or like he's really boring. Like a lot of misconceptions because he's such a like weird stoic person on camera, and that's like his kind of sense of humor, like very dry Seinfeld type sense of humor. I don't know if you would call it Seinfeld type, but it's like, I don't know how to explain this to you. It's just very, very dry, you know? So, I don't think you guys get to see him at all in videos. You know, it's just like him being dry and dealing with an awkward situation, not being used to filming. So it's like, I think the way that I film is very non, how would I say it? It's like very non inclusive of other people. Like I'll mainly be controlling the camera right on myself if I do out and about vlogs, and then I'll like veer to someone else who's not ready for it, and then they have to like perform for that second. And I think a lot of people aren't used to that, and I'm also not very accommodating to like the people around me and stuff. But yeah, I almost feel like sometimes I want to start over with Jay's perception of me, because I feel like I've grown so much since I was, what was it, 15 or something when I met him. And I feel like I've been like, he remembers all the dumb shit that I did, like when I was the most neurotic bitch in the on the planet. He like remembers that, and then so I don't know, I feel like maybe like he maybe doesn't see me as much as having changed, or maybe he sees me as being a complete opposite person. And I don't know, it feels awkward to try to introduce something new to him, and it's like entirely me, it's not him, you know? It's weird. It's like I wanna be cool to him, but I'm also 100% myself around him, so who am I kidding? You know, it's just, I'm not sitting here like openly introspecting about like grieving and stuff with him, you know? Like when Michael died, for instance, and I made that whole video, I don't even think he knew that I did that video, because when I'm filming, he's like either streaming or playing games or like doing something else, and he's downstairs, you know, we have like a 2-story. So I don't know, I feel like I felt awkward the other night when he was watching one of my videos, probably my game release news, because we watched that together because we're like, ooh, what games are coming out? And I'm like, look at this video I made. But like that video came up after, and for some reason I felt awkward. Like, why would I feel awkward? I'm posting it on the internet to 1 billion people, but sometimes he's one of the only people, I'm gonna be completely honest here, but he is one of the only people that I think is smarter than me, like that I've ever met or encountered, you know? Like I'm sure there are people out there, and even when it's someone like Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson, who I highly regard as like, I can learn from this person or whatever, you know, like I don't really love Jordan Peterson, but you know, like someone who's got like 20 master's degrees and they're like so well spoken, you know, like I often see that as just eloquence, like higher eloquence than I have. I want to learn from their eloquence. I don't even necessarily think that people who have a lot of school are smarter than me, you know? And Jay's one of the only people that I actually feel that insecurity around, where I'm like, oh, he's like so much smarter than me and he always has the answers. And so he's always been like kind of like he's pretty much the only person that can be my counterpart the way that he is, because I do view him as the alpha above me, and he is the person who can like be the voice of reason for me. Everyone else I would probably just kind of disregard or whatever. And maybe that like self-assuredness and arrogance in myself, like I don't actually think that, it's really weird. It's like I don't actually think that, but I'm also never like starstruck by someone else's intelligence, you know? Like for everything that they have better than me that I want to emulate or to use as inspiration to get better, I see myself having like just as many things that I do better than them. And there are a lot of people that I admire, and I don't look down on people for the most part. Like really stupid people I do look down on, but I don't look down on just everyone I meet. And I don't like immediately, I don't do the narcissistic version of being narcissistic, if you know what I mean. Like I'm not actually hiding this feeling with insecurity. Or I'm not hiding an insecure feeling with false, like grandeur, ideas of self-grandeur, whatever the fuck. Delusions of self-grandeur. Yeah, delusions of grandeur. Yeah, and then there's another one, it's like something self something, whatever. They're just like fucking basically buzzword psychology terms at this point to me. But let's see, like the thing that like I lack in a lot of areas, but I feel like the people who have the things that I would like to achieve lack in other areas, you know, and I feel like we can all learn from each other. And I don't, like, my perception of myself, as I always say, like, it's not the kind of perception that makes me look at other people differently, because I know that my perception of myself and my perception of everyone else is extremely subjective. Everyone, almost everyone can hate someone, and there will be someone that's like, I click with that person. That is my kind of person. So, like, for me to actually, like, for me to actually ever feel like, oh my god, I'm better than them, or this that I like is clearly better than them, it's even if I can't logically produce in my mind why it's not better, I know that there's someone out there who's having a completely different experience, and the fact that someone can have a completely different experience from my experience that feels so objective, you know, means that it isn't. It's weird. It's like, I've become so non-judgmental because of that, but my vernacular, not my vernacular, like the way that I speak and the things that I say have become so much more arrogant sounding. You know, like I'll say things like, I really love myself, like I'm so great, or like I personally think I am very close to being like the prettiest, like facially, depending, like with makeup on and stuff, like one of the prettiest girls I've ever seen. But that's just like a very subjective thing that I've been working towards, and I'm in me and I'm my person, and I understand that it's not, doesn't make me better, you know? Like a lot of arrogance and narcissism, a lot of why that's bad is because it's hurtful to other people, you know? Because, you know, maybe ayahuasca would make me see that differently. I don't know, and I'm interested, I'm curious. I want to, I don't know, stuff like that not only seems like a sexy fucking vlog topic, oh my god, and I would want to get myself throwing up, I would want to get myself actually tripping, which people probably wouldn't want because it would make ayahuasca look bad, probably because it would be terrifying. I don't know. But I sometimes crave doing vlogs like that are totally not me, like traveling, doing things with people, like ugh, that's like not me, you know? But I want to have had those experiences so that I know that it's not for me. And that's how I felt so long about like clubbing and partying. I felt like that doesn't even sound appealing to me. And I wasn't saying it like in the way most people would say it, where it's like, I'm missing out on social interaction and I'm not popular, so I'm just gonna pretend, like, you know, the sour grapes argument, where like, the original, like sour grapes is like based on a story. I think it's a biblical story, actually, I'm not sure. But it's an old story, sorry, where some guy wanted some grapes, but they were too high up to grab. And then I'm butchering the shit out of this, but basically it's the same. And then some other guy was tall enough to grab the grapes, and so the other guy is super jealous and in contempt of the other guy was like, those grapes were probably sour. And that's like how his coping mechanism manifested to deal with being super jealous that he can't have this thing that he coveted for so long, you know? And where was I going with the sour grapes thing? There was some kind of sour, oh, yeah, like, oh, I've missed this. I like doing this, but I haven't had inspiration to do something like this for so long, because usually the things that I want to talk about, I want to do them right, you know? Like sometimes, if I do have a really concise vision of what I want to talk about in my head, or I think it's gonna be like perfect clickbait, I want to do like a real video on it. But when I just have like inspiration to just fucking talk, and I don't even know, this started out as like a cat video and now it's this, I don't know. Oh yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like clubbing and partying, I never had the sour grapes feeling, but I did feel like, yeah, that doesn't look like fun. Let's go find out. And then when I did it a bunch of times, I tried to do it, and I can't even like fathom in my head like how to do it where it would be fun. You know, like maybe I'm overthinking it, but every time I think about like going out to a social event where it's not just like a chill thing at a friend's house where I know all the people, or where at least I know like 2 of the people, it just, like, imagine going to a club in Vegas. I've like flirted with the idea of going with Jay because it would be easier to like pick up chicks, and we've had friends that have wanted to go and stuff. But I think it would be so fucking easy to get threesomes here. Like, I need to start doing that again. But like, what do you do? You know, you go there and like chances are, unless you're some kind of pickup artist or something, you're gonna like stand and talk to the friend that you came with, and the music is gonna be too loud, and then like, let's say you do meet someone, they're gonna be annoying and vapid and vain 90% of the time because no one goes for like good interactions. And is that really better than a night at home playing Devil May Cry 5? I don't think so. But going to experience stuff like that, I think, is important to make sure that like you've tried it enough and you know that it's like actually not worth your time, you know. And ayahuasca is even more appealing. It's actually appealing because if I can expand my understanding of myself and better my life, and you know, I would want to, like people are saying addiction, I would want to come out of it not having these weird, illogical, very hard to control cravings for food. That would be amazing if I could just like lose a bunch of weight. The only thing that makes me not want to do it though is the fact that you can't have sex for an amount of time before and after. Like, no, but that's basically just dogmatic bullshit. And the chick in the video that I watched didn't even say that. I've just been doing research on it afterwards by like watching other people's videos and stuff. I don't know. Maybe it ties into the video that I made recently, which I'm sure is already up in the Get Ready With Me, the Cortana one, where I was talking about I have some weird, unexplainable, illogical anxiety. It's not really, is it anxiety? I don't know. Like, it feels like anxiety. It manifests like anxiety, but there's not, I can't pinpoint what I'm afraid of, you know? And I feel like it's just some kind of PTSD from the drunken peasants. So like, I have a weird, like, I'm afraid to interact in a public setting live. And the fact that it's live doesn't matter. Like, this would suck IRL, like at a dinner or something, with people who I actually really want to have conversations with, or in situations that would actually further my career. For some reason, even though I don't care what they think, and in the drunken peasants situation, I didn't care that there were a bunch of bad comments saying I was the worst guest or whatever. Like, it's just like, for some reason some anxiety manifests, and it's like weird. I can't even fucking explain it. It's like my jaw starts to shake even, and I cannot be myself, and I feel like I'm doing weird shit with my hands, and it has nothing to, I don't know why, you know, because it doesn't, like, I don't care, you know. Like, I imagine the worst situation and I'm not actually worried about that situation, you know. It's weird. Like, I don't care if I end up not talking. I don't care if I end up getting in a fight with a person. I don't care if the comment section ends up saying a bunch of rude shit. I don't care if it doesn't further my career or even hinders it. Like, I literally don't care about any of that stuff. And like, usually if there actually is anxiety, like for instance, I told you that I've developed a bit of anxiety to go out in crowds and shit. Not crowds. Not like agoraphobia or anything, but like, I don't want to die. And more so that I don't want to die, I don't want to be disfigured or dismembered or like attacked or have something happen to Jay. So I like avoid just going out, you know? But I also don't like going out. So it kind of works hand in hand. And maybe I'm making excuses. Maybe I wanted a more relevant excuse to not go out, and therefore I've manifested my own form of anxiety or something. But I think it would be interesting to know if there's anything deeper than that, that I'm just subconsciously not even, that I'm not even, what's the word? I'm trying to find the word. That I'm not acknowledging, you know? Because all of these things that I'm telling you right now are 100% honest. That's how I feel, 100%. Like, I'm not lying to you at all, but at the same time, you know, there could be something that I don't know about. Sorry, I forget the 24 minutes is the cutoff here. I don't have an explanation for why I feel these random things that don't correlate with other things. Like, usually people would be like, yeah, I have social anxiety because I'm really afraid of what people think. Or like, they know why. I just like randomly get it for specific things, and then none of those specific things have consequences possibly that I give a shit about. And it's like I'm logicking myself out of caring about the consequences, but I can't, or haven't logicked myself out of having the anxiety in the first place. I don't fucking know, dude. But I don't know, watch the video series if you're interested. It's really interesting to talk and think about like what people call spiritual stuff. I just feel like I would have a different take on why I had the experience, and I wonder if that would hinder or help my takeaway from it. Because she was talking about at the end of it, not trying to spoil it or anything, just a small clip. She was talking about how she now, anytime anyone does anything unfavorable, she looks at them like, oh, well, they do hurtful things because they've had hurt in their past, or, you know, there's reasons for that. Like, I've come to that conclusion logically like a million years ago. So I wonder what I could come to the conclusion of about myself and about the world that could better my life. What if it like made my life more bland? I don't know, like, what do you guys think about spirituality? What do you guys think about, have you had an ayahuasca trip? I don't know. What do you guys think about drugs in general, anxiety, anything that I've talked about here today? What do you guys think? I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's been fucking 25 minutes, so I'm gonna go. But I feel good and accomplished because I got an extra video out. So I'll have videos for when Red goes back on tour for a month, and I'll have to edit everything.